Spencer,
Yes, Alain.
I got a question for you.
Oh, this can't be good.
I know you don't tweet.
No, I do not.
Are you going to thread?
No, absolutely not.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I sadly do because our morning show happened to talk about it for their very first segment. So I learned everything I know from Aaron Karolnik and Carlo Koliakovo.
Okay, so you're not going to thread.
No, absolutely not, Al. I know you're going to thread, though, because you'll thread anything.
So lame.
You'll
lame.
You'll thread anything like the middle. Give away a cookie and let in a goal.
You're so lame.
I'm lame and you're a loser. So you know what? We make a pretty good L team.
You know what? Can we just get into it now?
I mean, probably.
All right, let's do it.
And welcome, everyone, to episode number 15 of The Outrage. Kind of fun to think we're into 15 now. Because, I mean, it took us, 9 months to get to, 10. And all of a sudden, we're at 15 in, a couple weeks. Which, it's kind of nice.
It's nice to finally be consistent once again, isn't it, Spencer?
Yeah, and we're not consistently shite. So that's an improvement. And that's not a cuss word, so that one can count. Bryson can repeat that one. Bryson can repeat that one.
We can repeat it.
Well, no, that's my 7-year-old nephew. That's who I think of when I make this podcast. It's my 7-year-old nephew, Bryson. Hi, Bryson. Hope you're listening to this.
Hello.
I know your sister. I know your mother. My sister will be. So it all
go.
works out. So, Al, I know you want to start off with doubleheader tonight for the Jays against the Chicago White Sox after the rain out yesterday, but that ain't the news. The news is on Friday. The return of the Puma, Alek Manoah is back at the Rogers Center. No, actually, they're in Chicago. That's right. I did know that.
They're
in Chicago.
Well, he's in Detroit.
Well, no.
So here's the thing.
So it ends the doubleheader in Chicago, and then they go to Detroit to play the Tigers.
But
That's actually, you know what the best part is? I did know they played the Tigers.
Yeah,
I did know that.
And because of the bad weather, he was supposed to be in Chicago with the team last night, but then his flight got delayed because of the weather and obviously the rain out and the
so they moved him to Saturday.
So they're like, hey, how about you just meet us in Detroit? So that's what he's doing. And by the way, he's a Tiger now. He wants to be a Tiger. That's the latest we got from recent
he wants
audio.
to move from being a Puma to a Tiger.
Yeah, I haven't heard Panda thrown up. Actually, no, now that you mentioned Panda, I think he might have, I don't know. He's whatever creature he wants to be. I just hope it works out because let's be honest.
He wants to be a donut. That's what he wants to be.
Well,
he wants to be a cinnamon roll. We should call him cinnamon roll.
No, I'm not going to do that. At the end of the day, he is an athlete.
He's a swirl.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, he's an athlete. He don't look like one. He's an athlete, though.
The thing that for me is I don't understand this move at all. And we talked about this on the last episode. Actually, we could say last week now because we're that consistent where it actually lines
was last week. It wasn't. Oh yeah, last episode, which was 2 months ago. Yeah, it was actually last week.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about that anymore. But it's crazy. I think it's too early. I don't understand how the logic behind this call-up works because, I mean, if you look at, he's had 2 starts.
Well, let's work backwards. So he had the blow-up start we mentioned last episode at rookie ball in Florida, and he got shelled. He then got put up to Double-A because obviously they felt like his progression of the mechanics, which is what the whole point of him going to Florida was for, is to get the mechanics right, get the body right, get the mind right. Goes to Double-A, has a good outing, 10 strikeouts, I think only let up 2 runs or something like that, was very minimal runs, 10 strikeouts, felt good, looked good enough that the Jays not only call him up, but expect him to start this coming weekend.
It's crazy. I mean, listen, the Jays clearly have a checklist of what they wanted him to fix, and if they have him up, I'm going to trust that checklist has been completed.
Has been met.
And it's good. The only thing I'm concerned about, though, is he had 82 pitches when he was with Double-A New Hampshire Fisher Cats, and only 47 of them were strikes. Now, I'd expect them to hit more. I'm not asking for, 60 strikes, 20 balls. That could be a little much. But then again, you're trying to work on your location, trying to get your ball located in the right zones, in the right spots that you want. You hope your slider works at the same time too.
And his slider's been his problem. I heard earlier today his slider was one of the best pitches when he was in that Cy Young contention.
That was
and
his
now
go-to.
It's been a big problem this year. It's been hanging too much, over the plate too much, it's been getting hit too much.
Or it just doesn't even catch the plate at all and you're drawing walks.
Which have both been problems. Letting up runs and walks. He's let up a ridiculous amount of walks.
So I think I would have liked if he would have had 55 strikes out of those 82 pitches. I would have been okay with it. That's a good number. But 47 still seems a little low. But hey, 10 Ks in Double-A ball, that's really good. I mean, that's how it should be. That's what you expect, right? Like, and I mean, I think that's what people expected too when he was in Dunedin, in Florida, when he got shelled for those 11 runs. Was like, hey, like, you know, they were, and he only threw 2 2/3 over there.
Yep.
And now he went. It was another 5 innings, 82 pitches, like I mentioned, 47 strikes. So it's good. I don't see how you skip AAA. And like it's so weird too, because like he went from
Florida,
basically a nobody league.
Well, it's rookie ball.
Rookie ball.
It's literally 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
It's not even, and it's not even
never
A-ball.
played North America before.
Yeah,
normally
it's not even A-ball, and gets absolutely torched, and then goes to AA, does phenomenal, but then I don't understand how you don't go, okay, let's try him at AAA first. And there is discussion now that maybe the Jays are bringing him up because it's
they need
too.
Him.
Well,
let's be honest. They need a fifth starter. They've been begging since he went down. They need a fifth starter. They needed somebody.
Him, but I also think it's because they're trying to figure out where are we going to be at the trade deadline. Because you're not going to be buying if you're pitching. Like, listen, you need all 5 pitchers to be not lights out, but to be pretty darn good. You know, because you're in a wild card race, you're likely going to stay in that spot. I don't see the Jays falling out of that wild card race at all.
Falling out of it, no. But right now they're a game and a half back of the New York Yankees right now in the last wild card spot. The Astros are above them, and then obviously you got the Orioles, who have kind of cemented themselves as the premier team, not in the top 3 division spots because the AL East is just gross.
Yeah, so I still think they can hang. But I think that's really what they're trying to do now, is trying to determine, okay, what are we doing? Because the Jays aren't going to sell. I don't think they're going to sell. They'd be...
Well, they can't.
Well, no, that's what I mean.
Well,
if they sell, that means you're basically like you're getting ready to retinker things, and like you're saying goodbye to the playoff hopes for this season.
Well, let's roll it back though, just for Manoah for a second. So you mentioned that he didn't go to AAA, he's going straight back to the majors, and again, he's pitching on Friday, tomorrow. This will be up today, Thursday. The doubleheader will go on probably as I upload this at home, and then his start on Friday. And let's be honest also here. He's playing against the Detroit Tigers. The Tigers are a below 500 ball club, 37 wins, 48 losses. They are not a good ball team. AJ Hinch, good manager, obviously is tainted with the Trastros. You've also got Javier Baez, who's been hot garbage with Detroit so far since he signed there.
The only good player would be like that I could think of right now that comes to mind would be like Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, and he's a rookie basically. He's only played like about a year and a half.
Yeah, and even he cooled off a little bit in the last stretch. Don't get me wrong, he had a multi-homer game a couple days ago, but I mean, other than that,
and again, he's a young guy, so he's going to struggle.
Right. So
you
that's
expect that kind of stuff. So if he has a bad start and it's against a bad team like Detroit, that makes the problem even worse, doesn't it? Because if you're playing against the Astros, Houston, or you're playing against the Yankees, or any of the divisional opponents, in fairness, because they haven't beat the Red Sox yet, they have been bad against the Boston Red Sox, who are the worst team in the AL East right now, right? So if it was against an AL East team, you'd be like, you know what, it's fine if he gets shelled because they're really good ball clubs. Texas, 50 wins already. They're leading their division. Good ball club. Houston, second in that division. Good ball club. You played against Detroit. That team is nowhere near the playoffs. Not going to be anywhere near the playoffs. And if you get shelled against a team that we all know can't hit, that's going to make it's going to make everybody like you, Al, who wasn't expecting him back maybe this season.
Well, nobody did. I'd like to see if someone comes up to me right now, or were to come up to me right now and be like, I knew they'd bring him up. No, you didn't. You're lying to yourself and to everybody, because no one expected the fact that he's back before the All-Star break. I expected him back maybe after the All-Star break, like end July, beginning August, maybe. But man, this is not after 2 starts in the minors. That's it, and skipping AAA on top of that. I don't get it.
So again, though, we'll see, because if he has a good outing against Detroit, I can see that double-edged sword up. He had a good outing, but it is Detroit. Right? Where if it is a team like one of the AL East teams and he has a really good outing, it's like, okay, there's no caveat. They're a good ball club. Even if some of them are struggling, they're good ball clubs. They consistently beat the Jays so far this season, and they need to be able to beat those teams. And if Manoah is a big reason why they do, then that's going to be a positive. But playing against Detroit, there's just not a win there for me. Like, even if he plays good, it's Detroit. And if he plays bad, it's Detroit. That's a problem.
Well, listen, if he plays bad against Detroit,
I'll make sure I say, we're not trying to dunk on the Detroit Tigers here.
No,
that's not intentional. It's just they are not. It's like playing the Oakland A's. Like, no offense to Domingo Germán, pitching the first perfecto since 2012 when it was Felix Hernandez.
Yeah.
But it's the Oakland A's. They haven't even won 25 games this year. Right?
Yeah, and
They're a bad ball club.
And
one of the worst they've ever seen.
And if it doesn't go well, let's be honest here, I don't think we see Alek Manoah again until he's gonna the way I see it happening is I think he goes back to Double-A.
See, I think they send him a triple this time. I think they go.
Maybe.
I think they just send him down a triple and say, okay, you know what? You're going to spend 2 or 3 starts here in AAA. We're going to let you play against some guys who may not be ever in the majors or some older guys.
You got to build his confidence up. So if I'm Manoah, I'd be pissed off. So I'd be like, okay, go to Double-A. You strike out 10 guys again. After that, I'd say
then AAA.
Yes,
okay.
only one Double-A start, one more. Just you gotta get the mojo back. You can't just send him back to AAA right away and then throw him out there because he's still going to be reeling from that blowout, that potential blowout that could or could not happen. We don't know. And then after that, I'd say 3 more starts. Mm-hmm. But at this point now, I want the pitch count to go up to 80 at least. And I want it to go at least 6 innings. No more 5-inning crap. No more of that. Jays don't need that. Their bullpen it's not bad, but again, it's not good, and we've talked about that already.
And they've even exhausted arms. Like Eric Swanson had a great ERA. He is at 41 innings already. We're not even at the All-Star break yet.
I know.
He's already at 41 innings,
yeah.
which is I checked out. I was confused when I saw him at that high. His total last year was 53.
Yeah,
he's almost at last season's total for Seattle already. He's almost at his appearances already, and we're not even at the All-Star break. He's still got a couple more months to go.
And the good news about this is too, the good news out of this is also while Alek Manoah is hopefully getting back on track, which I'm not gonna say he is based off of that one Double-A start. Listen, I'm not buying that one. You can't get shelled 11 and then whatever. Don't get me wrong, Domingo Germán did it, but Domingo Germán's been a lot better than Alek Manoah.
And he did it in the majors, right?
Yeah, he did it in the majors, right? All year long. He got shelled 10 runs and then comes back, throws a perfect game. So, the good thing for the Jays is that Hyun-Jin Ryu is also in the process of coming back. He's throwing, I believe he had a Florida start with the same team that where Alek Manoah started too. And his velocity was up to 88 miles an hour, which is not ideal, but it's good considering he hasn't thrown in almost 2 years.
Yeah, he had Tommy John, correct?
Tommy John, yeah. So that's good because Hyun-Jin Ryu can hit 93, 94. He could throw gas.
Yeah, he is not a flamethrower like the guys who throw 100,
no.
But he's
effective.
He is mid to upper 90s.
Yeah,
he can get up to mid 90s.
Yeah, and he's effective with his pitch selection and that kind of thing, and he knows how to. He's good. He was
good, especially with the Dodgers. And he had a good first year with Toronto last year, his last season with the Jays.
Yeah,
obviously didn't go his way.
The COVID year when the Jays made. They played the Tampa Bay Rays. They got swept, but Ryu was pretty lights out. He was their best pitcher that season. So the good news is he's in the process of coming back, and now you kind of wonder too if even if it does go bad, I think the Jays may be able to be hey, let's just ride this and whatever. I'm hearing now that at first there was no chance it was going to happen, but now that you're mentioning that the bullpen arms are exhausted, even too Trevor Richards, he's pitched a lot of innings this season too compared to last year. I don't even have to look that up to tell you he's had more starts. He's had at least a couple starts where he's thrown three innings of work. So that's really good though for the Jays to. But anyways, what I was going with is that they might actually explore a 6-man rotation.
When they should.
And they should.
The lack of bullpen they have.
And the good thing about Manoah 2 coming up now is now it pushes back Kevin Gausman's starts by 1 day. So Kevin Gausman is set to start on Saturday.
If Manoah gets shelled, they can use Gausman if they have to, which is the thought process I've heard.
Yeah, you could do that. So and then tonight for the doubleheader, which is we're Thursday, July 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, July 6th. Wow.
7-6, yeah.
Already. Wow. Jose Barrios and Yusei Kikuchi are the guys going on the bump for that one, so that's normal. Nothing really changes there.
You'd hope, for sure.
You hope. Jose Barrios, I'm not really worried about him. I think he's back to the Jose Barrios that he was when the Jays first signed him, or rather picked him up from
before
the
last
Minnesota
season,
Twins.
basically.
Yeah, before last season. And Yusei Kikuchi is also
he's been a pleasant surprise.
He's a pleasant surprise. He still worries me when he's on the mound, but overall, I'm happy with what I'm seeing from him. And again, I've been saying this too on Twitter. I really hope that I'm rooting for Alek Manoah. I am. I really am.
I hope so.
But
You want his jersey, I believe.
I do. No, I don't. But I do think it's too soon. I do think, you should have sent him to AAA, and then if he does well there, okay, fine, then bring him up. Like, he's rolling. So, but I'm curious to see, too, how long they'll let him go for. Like, if it does go well, are they going to let him pitch 80, or are they going to keep, are they going to say, okay, 5 innings of work and that's it, 75 pitches-ish? But honestly, if I'm John Schneider, if his confidence is riding high and, he is in the 6th inning and he doesn't have 80 pitches yet, let him get up to it. And if it keeps going, well, then, I wouldn't give him more than 7. Then that you're pushing it.
Well, but you'd also worry, though, how the longer in the game you go, the more times you face the same batters,
right,
the more likely they are to get a hit.
But it's also Detroit.
And it also
I'm also expecting the Jays bats to pick him up. You know what I mean? Like, everything should come to fruition on Friday night.
I also think that's going to affect the game. If he gets to the start of the 6th and the game's close, I don't think Manoah goes out regardless of how many pitches he throws.
I don't think so. I think the Jays
if the game's a blowout by the going into the 6th, I think you leave him out there for as long as you can. Because if the game's just about done, and unless Manoah gasses like more than 4 or 5 runs, then you should be good.
Yeah, like if it's an 8-run lead, I'd leave him out there until they hit 2 runs on him.
Well, until you feel like his arm's getting worse or whatever, you feel like the confidence is going to start going. Then you get him out of there.
Yeah, whatever the signs are. So anyways, interesting to see what's going to happen there with Manoah because, again, I and everybody else from what I'm reading, listen, you don't even have to know baseball. People know what's going on with Alek Manoah. Like, you hear Alek Manoah and you're like...
they're Canada's team. They're the only baseball team we have anymore.
No, but even around the majors, this is the talk of the major leagues. Cy Young finalist last season has a season like he's having right now. And listen, and then the Jays too, everybody's following this. Mm-hmm. Everybody. They know, you don't have to know baseball to go, wow. Only 2 starts in the minors and all of a sudden you think, yeah, problem solved. Again, we'll see. But I also find it interesting too. I wanted to talk about this too, how I love how they're starting him in Detroit. But I also think it's a smart move because I think they're protecting him
from Toronto
and themselves from Toronto. Because let's be real, he got booed at Rogers Center in his last start in the majors before getting sent down. What do you think would happen? I wouldn't be surprised if we even heard fire Atkins chants or something. Well, actually, it's not on John Schneider anymore.
You wouldn't think.
I mean, unless it comes out that Schneider asked for this, which then I'd be like, okay, well, why? But whatever, I'm gonna still trust them because this is the first time where you kind of see the Jays have this type of season where you don't really know what you're going to get, even though the product that's being fielded on the field is supposed to be really good.
On paper, they look really, really good.
Exactly.
But in practice, it hasn't panned out that way. But before we skip over Manoah, there's one other thing I wanted to mention with pitchers coming back. Sure. Chad Green, signing from the offseason from the New York Yankees. He's coming back from, I believe, Tommy John as well, maybe torn labrum.
Yeah, him and Ryu are both, they're both on this similar schedule.
Yeah, they both were in Dunedin with Manoah, and they had pictures of the 3 of those guys who all will be in the majors sometime this year. As Manoah now is back in the majors right now. We expect to see Ryu and Green later this year. And Green is a great pitcher. As a Yankees fan, I can tell you, one of my favorite relievers the Yankees have had in the recent memory. So he will be a good add if he is as good as he was before Tommy John. We'll see if that pans out. But before we skip over Manoah, I want to ask you, Al, what do you think Friday is going to look like? What would you say in your mind, if you want to say what your prediction is or what the ideal start is for Alek Manoah? How many strikeouts is he going to get? How many runs is he going to let up? And how many innings is he going to go? I don't care about pitch count. Pitch counts regardless.
Yeah,
just
it doesn't matter.
How many innings do you want him to go? How many runs is he going to let up? And how many strikeouts / walks? Because walks, again, have been a problem for him this year.
Okay, an ideal start would be 6 innings. Okay, 6 or it doesn't have to be 6 and it could be 6 1/3, 6 2/3, or 6+. I don't care. I'd be okay with that.
So minimum 6.
5 strikeouts would be good. I think if you're Manoah too, you're trying to. Don't go up there looking for a strikeout. Get the ball in play and trust your fielders. They got a really good outfield, very solid outfield, and their infield ain't too shabby either. So I think if you're Manoah, you're trying to go up there and pitch for contact. Mm. Anything on the ground, fly ball, whatever. So ideal start 6 innings. I'm going to say at least 5 Ks or more.
How many walks would you say?
Yeah, since
No
it's
more
his
than
first
two,
one,
probably?
I'm going to say 4.
No more than 4?
No more than 4. Again, trust your infield. Put the ball in play. Like, that's all you got to do afterwards. So that's the ideal start. And for me, though, personally, I don't think he goes more than 4.
4 innings.
I don't think he goes more than 4.
Well, how many strikeouts do you think he'll get in those 4 innings?
Not many.
Not many?
I expect maybe 3.
How do you think that regardless of runs, he'd only go 4?
I don't think it'll be
close?
walks. I think the Tigers, like, there's no the pre-scout's out on this guy. Like, you're a top pitcher in the last 2 seasons in the league. Last year was your full season where, like, the word was out. Alek Manoah is a beast. So people know what you're throwing. Like, you can't change anything like that. Like, they know what you're going to throw. You throw a high heat when it's your fastball, and your slider is disgusting. Usually was. So if I'm Manoah, I would try to pitch more to the inside of the plate than the outside, and that might be playing it a little too safe. But yeah, for me, I don't see it going well at all, and I kind of don't want it to, because I kind of want the Jays to learn a lesson. Just because there's trouble, you can't give Manoah the role of being a savior. You can't. He's not that guy. Not even close. So I kind of want the Jays to learn their lesson here. And I also kind of just want Manoah to know too, like, it takes more than 2 starts. Like, yes, you're putting in the work, but, like, you can't rush it. I think he knows that too, but I mean, I think the reason why they're bringing him up is because they saw how high his confidence was, and I think that plays a role into what was working. So, yeah, like I said, I'm rooting for him, but I got a bad feeling about this.
Eerie feeling for Alek Manoah. And I also, again, do want to mention here in episode 50, and I'll try to set my name, Spencer Byers, alongside Big Al. Alek Manoah, AQ.
We never formally, what's going on?
I don't know, I forgot, I guess.
What's going on?
So,
I always start with that.
You know, I've had a long morning. Had a long past 2 days. But regardless, before we skip over to the Leafs, I want to say one more thing about the Jays, because I thought you brought up a good point about.
Whoa, Spencer just gave me a compliment. What the hell is going on?
It's the first one and maybe the last one of the outrage.
Probably.
But you talked about how the Jays can't sell. I want to go to that hypothetical. If the Jays were to sell, who do they sell? Like, you're not selling Bo Bichette. You're not selling,
Bo Bichette and Vladdy are untouchable.
You're not. I don't even think you're selling the catchers. No offense, Danny Jansen maybe, but you trade away your top prospect in Gabe Moreno, right? So you're not trading Jansen. You're not trading Kirk. And I don't think you're trading any of the outfielders.
No.
So, like, who are you trading? Like Espinal, Biggio? But they're not going to tank your season, are you?
No. I mean,
like, is it a pitcher maybe? But again, you're not trading Gausman. Are you nuts? He's been easily the Jays' best pitcher since he signed in Toronto. Manoah's got no value. Like, is it Bassett? Like, I don't know who the sell would be for Al if the Jays do decide they're not going to. They're too far away. They can't make up enough ground.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. All I know is that, like, obviously selling is an option. It's just, at this point here, if they do sell, it's one of those where, like, the only 2 that, maybe 3 that would survive the sell would be Bichette, Vladdy, and Matt Chapman. Oh, I forgot about Chapman, but yeah, Chapman's obviously unavailable. That is the only 3 that I could see surviving that, and I'll throw in Gausman. So,
well, Al, flip side.
Other than that, I think anybody else would be.
Who do they buy? Because I was trying to. I was tasked with coming up with a wish list for all the major Toronto teams, and the Jays were obviously included.
You're buying arms. You're buying arms, and I'm talking Shane Bieber. Shane Bieber is. Listen, he's on the block. Swing. He's on the block. There's another arm. I don't know why I can't think about it all of a sudden. There was 2 arms that I was looking at for the Jays. Shane Bieber was one of them. And, oh, man, I wish I remembered what the other one was, because it was another decent, well, not decent. It was actually a pretty good arm.
Bieber's a former Cy Young winner, I believe.
Yeah.
Not Cy Young contender for sure.
Yeah, so Bieber is good. I've always liked Bieber, so when I heard about that, I was like, that would be interesting.
So you wouldn't even look at the lineup? You'd only go for an arm?
I don't think you need
or 2,
bats.
Probably?
I just think even the thing with the Jays, like, we talk about the approach, on the last episode and the episode before that, so 14 and 13, and it's not even a matter of the approach. Like, just hit the ball. Just try to hit it. Doesn't matter. Don't try to hit it anywhere. Just see where it goes. Like, look at Vladdy the other night. Oppo Taco. Opposite field home run. And it didn't look like a home run swing. It just looked like one of those where he's like, it's there, I'm going to swing. And he hit it well and it was gone. So I don't think you need to touch the bats. Maybe bring in one bat. Don't ask me who. Don't know. Can't think about it off the top of my head, and I don't want to kill time and, ponder on that. But I really wish I knew who the other pitcher was that I was thinking about, because when I heard the name, I was like, this is a really good one. Let's see if we can actually look up pitchers that are on the trading block.
Well, see, and I really don't trust that type of stuff because, insiders do have
information. If I see the name, I'll know. I swear.
No, but I know insiders. It's kind of like when I hear best player available for anything. It's like, yeah, but how much do we actually know to what the GMs and what the personnel actually believe are guys that are on the block that are affordable? Because Shane Bieber's going to bring a haul back to the Guardians. He's not going to go for something cheap. And I'm not sure if the Jays can afford to give up any more prospects after trading for guys like Varsho, giving up their best prospect in Moreno. Right? So I just don't know how that's going to work out, right?
Yeah.
That way with the prospect pool the Jays have got. So I guess we'll see as Al again scans through the litany of pitching names that are allegedly on the block here in the MLB. And again, the All-Star game's coming up. The trade deadline not too far after that. It's fun to talk about baseball because for the first month you're like, oh, this games mean nothing. We're in the first month, and then you get to June and you're like, oh my god, all of a sudden we're like, all these games matter utmost importance. You cannot lose more than 3 games or you're done. You're gonna sewer yourself, right?
Yeah. So end of June, beginning July. That's when you're like, oh, we're okay.
Are we
cool.
good or are we bad?
We're already at this point. And as far as the pitcher goes, I have no idea.
Al lost it.
I have no idea who it was.
It's I just remember the big head of Alek
I just know
Manoah.
there were 2 names. Shane Bieber was one of them, and I said that would be phenomenal. And I mean, let's be real here. I think all they need is Bieber, to be honest. Just fill that fit. Gosman's good. Barrios, fine. Kikuchi's my question mark, to be honest.
But
still.
he's been a pleasant surprise because he was awful last year.
Yeah, but all good things come.
Fifth starter,
all good things come to an end. So, yeah.
What a nihilistic thing to say, Al.
Sure.
What a nihilistic thing to say.
Anyways, he's my question mark, but Bieber would be my addition. Probably one of my only additions, and then I'd ask for a batter. Find someone that can be what Kevin Biggio was supposed to be / what he was earlier on, or a guy like 2-hit Witt who plays small ball very well, and ball doesn't leave the ballpark often for Whit Merrifield, but he does drive and runs. So that would be the 2 spots I would try to work on. But we'll see. I don't hate the spot the Jays are in right now. I'm just not really sold on the way things are going right now. They're still losing ball games that they shouldn't be losing. And I was actually at the Jays game on Canada Day, and it was ugly to watch, man. Lot of basic mistakes. George Springer was good. Bo Bichette was okay. It was more of how the game ended that really struck a chord with me. And that's when Bo Bichette got sent home by Luis Rivera. First of all, Bichette didn't really see the sign, so Rivera was in a bad spot. And Bichette hesitated as he was just turning third. And then the other thing was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. finally, he was heating up. He had hit his home run at Rogers Center. He was turning the corner. Hits the ball, line drive to right field. Right to Alex Verdugo, who has been a Jays killer, by the way. Unreal that series that guy had. And by the way, Alex Verdugo, for those of you who don't know, has a very, very, very good arm. As soon as you see it's hit to Alex Verdugo, I'm not even thinking of sending Bichette. By the way, all you needed was 1 run and you had a tie ball game. And I understand wanting to tie it up at that moment to get the crowd going, and momentum's right there with you, and everyone's into it. But at the same time, it's a July 1st baseball game.
Yeah.
If it's your last game of the year kind of game, fine, send them. I don't care. At least you went out trying. But that could have been easily a game where you could have won that. Bichette stays on third. You got Vladdy at first. Maybe he gets to second because Verdugo might throw it to home, and Vladdy could advance to second, but even then I wouldn't do that. So you have runners on the corners, and then I believe Chapman was coming up. That was the guy next in the order. What's wrong with that? All you need to do is put the ball in play. You get a solid double. You can either walk it off, or you bring in the run. You tie the game.
Mm-hmm.
Or now that there's guys on and there's a pressure moment, Kenley Jansen wasn't pitching that great. Who knows? He maybe throws a wild pitch, running in that way. There's multiple ways that ball game could have gone the Jays' way, but it didn't because of little mistakes. I don't understand why they're at the point now where they're making these kinds of mistakes. I'd expect that when Bichette and Vladdy first came into the league, but not now. Not now. And listen, their hitting's gotten better, which is really nice to see. Still needs some work. But I really do think that either the hitting coach or the third base coach, they got to switch that up. There's something needs to change here because Luis Rivera has not seemed himself all year long. It's not the first time we see him hesitate or send someone when he shouldn't. There was a time actually this year where Santiago Espinal should have been sent. Instead, the game went to extras. And that's when the Jays were really, really not bringing anyone in when they had runners in scoring position. So, I don't know. We've spent 30 minutes talking about the Blue Jays.
Well, we only have two things in the lineup, so I thought we might as well have fun with the Jays.
Fair enough. I mean, like I said, I don't hate...
It seems like you need to vent. It seems like you need to vent.
It's just frustrating because, like I said, there's mistakes they're making, and it's like I expected this a couple years ago, not now.
Well, see, now, I think that is what continually, I won't say it just upsets Jays fans, but why the expectation of this Jay team is so high. It's because they were a playoff team when Vladdy was a rookie, when Bo was a rookie, when these guys were young. It's kind of like, I'll say like the Leafs, but not exactly, because they've even had longer than the Jays. But every year it's like, okay, they should be getting better, and they haven't, right? We had the trailer, this is going to be the movie. That was last year. If it was a movie, it was a horror movie.
That was
right?
awful.
And I would say this is worse than last year.
Oh, this is 100% worse.
So it's that point where you're asking, when are they going to take that jump forward of, okay, we're no longer a wild card contender, we're now a title contender. We're an AL East champion contender.
Yeah, this is one of those where you're supposed to be
the Orioles have already passed them out.
Oh yeah, but this is where, and they're just getting started, by the way.
Oh, exactly, and that's what I mean though, is they've already taken that jump over the Jays, and they've had less time.
And they still have, you look at their prospect pool, their depth chart for their prospects is very deep, scary deep.
Mm-hmm. And they still have guys like Gunnar Henderson, who's a rookie this year. Adley Rutschman's had a year and a bit.
Yep, and they just called up yesterday.
One of their top prospects.
Yeah, I picked him up in fantasy.
Of course you did.
He did well. I want to say, do I want to look up? Yeah, I got to name drop him. I got to give him props. Hold on, it's coming up there.
Well, I will tease what we're talking about next. We are going to talk about the Leafs, and I don't think we talked about them adding Bertuzzi and Max Domi. So we will
Colton
talk about
Cowser.
Colton Cowser,
recent call up for the Baltimore Orioles, who got his first hit and first RBI last night for the O's against the New York Yankees too. Nonetheless, but yeah, the Leafs. We can talk about the Leafs.
Yeah, we'll move over to another Toronto team who's waiting for them to take the eventual leap of faith to a title contender. The Toronto Maple Leafs. They added Tyler Bertuzzi to a one-year deal. They added Max Domi to a one-year deal. Two guys we haven't talked about. I don't think we even talked about them adding Ryan Reeves, but last episode we might have. But regardless, they've added a lot more, quote-unquote, from Brad Treliving, snot, that's the word he used, to his team. But, add Bertuzzi. I like that move. Add Domi. I don't mind that move. I don't know where he's going to fit, but I like that move. But now, Al, again, the mighty question we've been asking since feels like started June, so over a month now. Austin Matthews, 1 year left on his deal, needs an extension. William Nylander, 1 year left, needs an extension. And all I see is William Nylander in the lineup, Al. So what is your contention right now with William Nylander, the guy who's played the best in the playoffs for your Toronto Maple Leafs?
I'm at the point, Spencer, when I'm just tired of hearing him, hearing his name. I don't care. I honestly, you know what the worst part is? And I was actually telling this to my buddy the other day. I was like...
You have friends?
Yeah, I have friends. Not many.
Well, imaginary, but
I have some.
Anyway.
And I was telling him how every time, it's always talking about the Leafs. You talk about the Leafs contracts more than you do about their on-ice play. which is a problem. The fact that there's more conversations around team players' contracts rather than their on-ice play and on-ice focus, what they're going to do to make the team better. Like, there was barely any talk about Ryan Reeves and coming over, Tyler Bertuzzi and Max Domi. That just happened. It just happened. It was like, oh, hearing this is happening, and then boom, it happened. It was done. Whereas William Nylander, you could be give me a random number.
64.
Game 64. Well, no, I didn't like that number, actually. I was hoping for something more random, like 32 or like 36.
32 is the 64 divided by 2.
Oh, that's funny. I didn't do that on purpose, I swear. But anyways,
we all know you can't do
fine.
math, Al.
Game 42. There you go. Game 42.
So a little over halfway.
A little over halfway. That's a bad number too. I like 30, whatever. Just a random number. You could be in end of the second period, the Leafs will be winning 10-0, and they'll be like, hey, how about that William Nylander contract? And it's like, they say it for a joke, but it's like, it's not funny because it's always him. So I'm at the point where I'm like, either sign him or trade him. Do something. Get it over with. I'm tired. I don't want to go into December here and hear about William Nylander. If I hear about William Nylander, I want it to be because he's either playing really well or playing really bad or not meeting up to expectations, whatever. That's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear anything about his freaking contract. And the fact that he wants $10 million per year?
See, I don't know how much. Again, I don't know how much of that is true though. Like I
believe it. Listen,
like,
this guy,
that's what worries me.
He wants his money's worth this time. Okay, the first time around was just Dubas, pushing, like trying to lower it, and then he's like, all right, fine, 6.9. It's not that bad of a number after all. Whatever, fine.
And you know what's funny, Al, is Leaf fans complained about it when it got signed, and I kept telling everyone I knew, wait, you give him a full training camp, that deal's gonna look like a steal.
It's a steal.
And guess what? It was a steal.
I just find it funny how you're now a year out from from your contract expiring, and then all of a sudden he decides to show up. You know what I mean? I find it very funny that this year he decides to put up a 40-goal season. I'm not saying he selectively did that. There could have been
a player can though. Like I kind of hate that stuff.
But I just find it the timing is so funny.
It's an impeccable timing.
It's like, you have one really good season and now you think you're worth 10 mil. I like the Leafs number that they're trying to throw at him. 8.5 is good. It's great. And don't get me wrong, a team would pay him $10 million tomorrow or even today, right now. And I'd be okay with that. I just don't think he's a $10 million player for
the Toronto Maple Leafs.
And the reason why I say that, well, listen, by the way, have players not learned a thing yet? Have they not learned? Look around the NHL. Other than the Vegas Golden Knights and Tampa Bay Lightning, what do most recent Cup champs have in common? They don't have a lot of, they don't really have a tight cap. Nathan MacKinnon took pay cuts for the longest time. Gabriel Landeskog took pay cuts. Mikko Rantanen, actually, I think he got paid right off the hop. Maybe not. I have to look that one up again. They take pay cuts for the longest time. Guess what? It allows them to build a team. Guess what? They win the Cup. Won the Cup, then they got paid. They don't care anymore. They did it. They could say they're a Stanley Cup champ. Now, obviously, I'm not saying Nathan MacKinnon's like, I'm done, won my Cup, I'm good. No, he's still a competitor. But like the thing that bothers me about the Leafs, it's you're in Canada, first of all. You can get paid $13 million for all I care. Guess what? There's still tax, and you're also paying escrow. Like, I'm sorry, you're gonna get taxed like hardcore by playing in the Canadian market. So there's that. That's
why they want more money, though.
Fair enough, but it just doesn't. Fine, but don't expect to win. Don't expect over 50% of your roster is based off of your cap is based off of 5 guys. Yeah, okay,
and
good
the
one.
burger place.
Good one. There's 4 lines, by the way, guys, in the game of hockey, not just one.
And 60 and 3D pairings and 2 goalies.
Yeah, so the fact that I hear that he wants $10 million is just brutal. And the problem is too, I think now the Leafs kind of want to get his deal out of the way done because I think they already know what Matthews wants, and they're like, yeah, we're going to give it to you. 3 to 5 year deal for Matthews I'm going to think Matthews gets 14 mil.
And that is way too much money.
Yes.
Way too much money.
Yes.
And not long enough term, might I add.
Correct.
Not long enough term.
Yeah. So I think they already have the number, and they're just waiting on Nylander to see what they can do. And let's be real, if you're not going to get to an agreement, bye. Trade him.
I'll be honest here, Al. If the Leafs do not sign him this summer, I don't think they're going to be able to trade him. Because
no, he's going to walk.
Because, and this is the problem, is people say, we'll just trade him. Okay, but think about it. Other than the exclusivity right you'll have for having him for that extra year of his contract, what's the gain of trading away a bunch of assets for a guy that's going to be a free agent in a year? I can just wait. Why would I give you a bunch of first-round picks and a top grade A prospect when I can just wait 6 more months, 9 more months,
Yep.
and he'll be a UFA, and I can sign him to $11 million as a UFA. Yeah, I might pay a little bit more of a premium because he is on the market and everyone else has a chance at him. But even at that point, Al, you can trade him next summer before his deal is actually up and then sign him then and give up way less.
Yeah.
So it's got to be, the Leafs have to understand what the value of William Nylander is going to be because people know I can sign him in a year. I don't need to trade for him now. Versus being able to afford him, which obviously I don't necessarily think he's a $10 million player either, for the Leafs especially. But, as you admitted, there will be a team out there who will give him $10 million.
Absolutely.
There are a litany
100%.
of teams that would give him
There will be a
$10
bidding
million.
war. There will be a bidding war for that guy, and I wouldn't be surprised if a team eventually ends up throwing him 11 because
They want to make sure.
you got to outbid him. You got to outbid the competition. I'm just tired of the whole thing. I hate hearing about the William Nylander contract talks. I think 2017 or 18 he held out, or when that was 2018, I believe. I don't know. Whenever he held out, that was really the final straw for me where I was like, okay.
18, 19.
Yeah, 18. Anyways, I was just so done with it. And the fact that it's always been a point of conversation around the Leafs, it's like, enough. And I also think this guy's going to get paid, and then he's going to be, I don't think he'll be as consistent. He's working for his money right now. Of course he's going to play to his full potential. But after he gets paid, yeah, right. For me, that guy's just a pretty face in a pretty place. That's all it is. Don't get me wrong. Good hockey player. Really good hockey player. But I don't like the way he goes about, the game. And some might hate what I'm saying, and others might agree. And guess what? That's why they're called opinions. And
I was usually wrong. So you're
sure.
probably right.
Yeah, but anyways, I'm just tired of hearing of the conversation. As for the contracts for Bertuzzi, for Reeves, for Domi, I'm happy. I wish Camp would have taken a cut now because I feel like maybe Bertuzzi could have been signed to more than just a year. That's one player I really, really want the Leafs to keep, and I think they'll have trouble because I think he will excel very well with the Leafs. I think
if Nylander gets dealt, then that money's going to get divvied up between
maybe
Matthews and him.
And I think Domi, from what I've heard, it sounds like he's like this is the team he wants. He's done. He doesn't want to go anywhere else. He wants to stay in Toronto. If it's for $750K, it's for $750K.
Well, let's not act like he's getting that though. He's getting $3 million, so I don't think he'd take a massive pay cut to play for the Leafs. I think he would take a pay cut.
Yes,
but he wouldn't take a Jason Spencer pay cut.
No, nothing. I don't. Not at the point of his career.
Or a Mark Giordano pay cut, even though Mark Giordano's a lot older.
Not at the point of his career. So I like those signings. Even Reeves, I'm okay with it. I think 3 is too much.
Maybe a year too long. But
I think that's what I mean. Like a year too long. I think 2 would have been better. But who knows? Maybe
for what he is, though, he's exactly what the Leafs need.
Oh, I think the Leafs are. It's hard to say if they're better.
They're
going
to be harder to play against.
They're going to be more frustrating to play against. Like Michael Bunting was one guy.
Now you got 3. And
now it's like okay, try to touch Bertuzzi. All right, touch Domi. Guess who's coming off the bench to beat the living crap out of you afterwards?
Well, and Domi and Bertuzzi all have that kind of sandpaper to their game. So, they're not players who are going to take nothing from nobody anyway, right? So they're also going to defend your baby stars like Nylander at this point, like Matthews at this point, like Marner.
And another thing too is Ilya Samsonov filed for arbitration, so they're going to go, to that. And I also wonder, I don't I don't think he needs arbitration. I think the Leafs had a good number for him. I think right now the problem with the Leafs that's handicapping them is the Matt Murray contract.
Well, and again, and
they haven't moved him yet.
And Austin and William, those two contracts are also playing into a factor. I think
Matthews will sign. I don't even if it's not even if it's not this summer and it's mid-season. I don't care. He's going to sign. I think it's really Nylander that's the concern. Like, oh, you want to win in Toronto, you want to play in Toronto and be here. Listen, asking for $10 million is not going to get you a win in Toronto, and it's not going to, allow you to play in Toronto. Because if there's one thing that the vibe I'm getting off of Brad Treliving is we're going to try to sign you, but if it doesn't work out, I have no issues sending you out the door and bringing someone in for.
Well, not his guys, right? And that same thing with Keefe, and that same, no offense to Shanahan, even though technically he's above Treliving, but none of these guys are him, right? None of these guys are his guys.
Nope.
So, that's why I kind of chuckle when they say Keefe might get extended. I'm like, I doubt that we're going to fire him, but I doubt they're going to extend him either.
I'll be surprised if he makes it to December.
Well, depending on how the team starts.
The Leafs are going to leave. And again, the worst part is, too, there's jokes already going on. Like, not jokes, but some people I think they're actually serious about this. Oh, this is their year. Shut your mouth.
You've been saying that for the last 5 years.
Oh, my goodness. You know what year was the best time to get it done was this past year that just passed. That was their best opportunity. Because now, like we've said this before in previous episodes, I believe this was before double digits or around that time. The Ottawa Senators are coming. By the way,
the Buffalo Sabres are coming.
Yeah.
The Detroit Red Wings are coming.
Uh-huh.
Even the Montreal Canadiens are coming.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
So I think the best time for them to do it was this past year. And
we named the 4 teams weren't even in the playoff race. Well, weren't even in the playoffs.
And then you got the Carolina Hurricanes.
Gross.
Holy jeez.
The Rangers.
Gross.
The Devils.
Vladimir Tarasenko, by the way, could go to Carolina or Ottawa. Those are the 2 teams we're hearing.
And you know what the best part is? I hear that
it's likely Carolina.
I hear it's likely Ottawa if DeBrincat gets moved.
Well, that or they get Tarasenko first, and then they're like, all right, DeBrincat, we're just going to move you. Because you're allowed to be over.
They're already going to move DeBrincat.
Yes.
They've already gotten to that point. So they're just kind of waiting to get DeBrincat off the books to basically move that money straight into Vladimir Tarasenko's pocket, who just switched agents as of, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah, Kane and Tarasenko are the 2 that are interesting for me on the free agency market right now.
And I don't know where the Kane's going to go because Kane's very particular. As we've already found out, he's the only one to go to the Rangers at the deadline.
Do I think Chicago's got work to do? But I already think Chicago's a lot better.
I don't think he wants to go back. I think he wants to really win. I believe Patrick Kane wants to win.
Imagine Patrick Kane and Connor Bedard, though.
It's probably what Taylor Hall you'd think on the left.
I don't know. That could be your power play. Maybe. I don't know. Chicago has no goaltending right now either. So
nor do a lot of teams. Yeah. Like the Devils really need a goalie too.
How about the John Gibson rumors? Did you see that?
What did he?
That he apparently wanted out of Anaheim, and then his agent was like, "No, like this is false." Blah blah blah.
No, I think it's not that he demanded a trade request. I think it was even that he'd say he wouldn't play.
Yeah, he wouldn't play or something like that. Anyway, I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And then Frank Saravalli, who made the report, comes back with a receipt and goes, "Yeah, remember the last time you said my reporting was false?" And it was like something about an executive going to Arizona or leaving Arizona, something like that. And then Saravalli was right, so it was kind of funny. There was a little bit of Twitter. It seemed like what was going to be a Twitter feud, but ended up turning into nothing. But it was kind of funny, though, because Frank Saravalli kind of was like, hey, you doubted me the last time. Look what happened. So you really want to try that again. So anyways, I think John Gibson's got something good in Anaheim. Adam Fantilli looks disgusting in development camp right now for the Columbus Blue Jackets. He hit the Michigan the other day.
Babcock's going to love that.
First day of development camp. Yeah. Mike Babcock, yeah.
He's going to love that.
I wonder how that combination is going to work. But you know what? I think Fantilli's such a relaxed kind of guy that, like, it's like, okay, like, this is how they want me to play. I'm going to play this way.
Hopefully Babs has softened a little bit since his exile.
But Babcock, too, like, just really loves good players, right? So I think maybe the fact that Fantilli is really good, as long as he doesn't pull the crap that he did with Marner in Toronto about, like, oh, give me your list of who's a good player.
That's what I mean. I hope he's softened since.
Well, I think so, because, I mean, let's be real. You screw this up. If you're Babcock, this is your chance. Like,
do well. He only had a 2-year deal.
Do well for these 2 years. If you decide that you don't want to stay there anymore, well,
maybe you've improved your reputation enough.
If you did well enough, you could go somewhere else. And there's always going to be a coach carousel around the league. Let's be honest. And this is the last point I wanted to make about the Leafs. And we talked the last episode about how, Sheldon Keefe's voice is annoying.
has been getting annoying.
has been tiring for this core. And I was thinking, I'm like, who is someone that would be a fair coach, could get the guys going, but at the same time put some fear into them if they're playing like garbage.
Well, but I see now, not only a problem with that before you say your name is then you have to pick a coach who not only is good and can do both of those things, but also would want to come to Toronto. Like, there's lots of coaches out there, but want to come to Toronto.
Here's the name.
Here's the name.
I'll give you his background real quick.
Oh, here we go.
I'll give you two things.
Two things.
Conference finals, Eastern Conference finals in 2016. And he has a huge scar on the side of his face. Guy Boucher.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
no.
yes.
No, you would not want Guy Boucher.
I don't want John Tortorella. That's too much.
Well,
I want a guy I want a guy that knows where the line is in terms of, like, he's not afraid to sit a star, but at the same
you don't
time,
want Guy Boucher. I'm telling you right now.
At the same time, that guy can hype up. I think Guy Boucher is almost like another version of Rod Brindamore.
No,
there will be no other like Rod Brindamore. Don't get me wrong. Rod Brindamore is who he is, and I honestly would run through a wall for that freaking guy, which is good. That's what you want out of a coach.
Yeah.
He is one of a kind. But Guy Boucher is very close to him, in my opinion. He's fair with his criticism, but at the same time, I find he has a good balance in terms of how much crap to give somebody, but also how much rope to give them in terms of, like, leeway.
But you know why he's never stayed in any one place, don't you?
Well, I mean, let's be real. After the Senators, lost in the conference finals in 2016, it was a debacle.
Even before that, with Tampa. You know why he doesn't last anywhere? Because he runs the 1-3-1 defense. Neutral zone trap. And it does not work after about a year and a half. It
Fair
works
enough, but he's been
until it doesn't.
He's been out of the league for a bit. Now, anyways, I'd like to see him back in the NHL, and I think he would be a good fit.
And he run the 1-3-1, and he worked for about a year and a half, and then the Leafs would get shelled, and he get canned.
I don't know.
So that's the problem.
We'll see. I don't know, but that's the only name that could come to mind when I was trying to think of coaches that could fill the whole...
There isn't one. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There isn't one. Like, even if you fire Sheldon Keefe, there isn't a guy that you think of that's like, okay, that's the perfect guy. Because, like, I would love Claude Julien to go to the Leafs. He'd join Pat Burns. I think it's like one of the only coaches that ever coached the Leafs, the Habs, and the Bruins. And Pat Burns was a great coach back in the day.
Yeah.
So
I also think Keefe is a lame duck anyways, regardless. Even if they do extend him, the guy's lost. I think he's lost the room.
But not only that, again, he's not a true living guy. And yes, Shanahan does have the final say, but the GM will make that decision first before Shanahan gets that decision.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting. I still have I like what Tree Living's done. I like what he's said. I also really like the John Klingberg signing. And if I was John Klingberg, I'm sorry, I would not have picked number 3 to wear as your jersey number.
That's because you're a hater.
Well, listen, the last two guys that wore number 3, Justin Hall and Dion Phaneuf.
Well, it's okay. He'll fit perfect because he can't play defense either. So he fits those two guys.
I don't know. I really like.
He does a lot more offense.
I really like the Klingberg signing because I do think if he goes back to what he was in Dallas before getting moved around, I do think he is another Morgan Riley.
Yeah, it's great, Al. You guys are going to play like the Oilers in the 80s. You guys are going to play 5 guys in the offensive zone, no one playing defense. You guys are going to play 8-7 games. So this will be back to the 80s.
I'm just saying I really
Austin
like it.
Matthews going to have 70 goals because they're going to win games 8-7.
I
also
like his size. So, I mean, I like what he's done, but I still have a weird feeling, like something bad. Maybe not something bad, but like, I don't know. It's just something's not going to go the way that people expect it to. And I mean, listen, I
think the Leafs need one more defenseman.
Yes.
Like they need at least one more.
That's what they're looking to do. That, and they need to move Murray's contract. You can't send him on the LTIR because now the league is looking into those now.
Yeah.
And allegedly. Let's be real. Murray's healthy.
Enough.
He is. Yeah, no. He's healthy, but like
no such thing for Matt Murray. But he's healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
Before he gets hurt again.
So it'll be interesting. It's only July 6th.
And guess what, Al? For the next month and a half, these stories are going to continue to circle. Matt Murray, what's going to happen to him? Buyout, trade, what happens? LTIR, what happens? Austin Matthews, contract extension, what happens? William Nylander, contract extension, trade, what happens? More ads for Brad Tree Living and Brendan Shanahan, what happens? Sheldon Keefe, extended, fired, what happens? Right? Same stories we're going to keep circling in the pot, circling in the cauldron, if you will, of the Toronto Maple Leafs media rumor mill. And
Yeah,
it'll be circulating till they get back on the ice for training camp.
Gotta love that rumor mill. I know that I'm just tired of it. And listen, here at Sportsnet, we talked about William Nylander for a solid, we're Thursday today. So we didn't talk about him today, but we talked about him the 3 days prior to that. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Yes, we were in on Monday, even though it was considered a stat for here in Canada. But I'm about to lose my crap if I hear more William Nylander. Unless there's development, if they're close, fine. If they're not close, I don't give a crap. We know they're not close right now. He wants 10. They're like, nah, 8.5. Those are the reported numbers.
Yeah,
they've been not close. I get it. I'm tired of it. Even if the conversation has stalled.
They've been stalled.
I don't care.
That car has been stalled, guys. That car has been stalled, stuck in the right lane.
Exactly.
They're just like the traffic reports at TSN. Stalled car on the 401 right lane.
What's new?
Traffic is slowing. Yeah, exactly.
What's new?
Like the Leafs. Contract extensions are slowing as William Nylander's contract has been stalled in the right lane.
What's new?
Expect delays, Yeah. So it's no surprise. But that'll be it here for us. Again, only two topics today, but Al and I got a chance to go in on depth there on Alek Manoah, the panda, puma, grizzly bear.
The creature.
Donut, whatever we wants to be called now.
We'll call him a mythical creature at this point.
He is a mythical creature because the way he's been pitching, you don't want to see him. You think he's imaginary.
Or you do. It's one of those where it's kind of like Medusa, Like
you want
to open your eyes because you want to see, but at the same time you want to keep them closed because you know what happens if you open up. It's not good.
No, it is not good. I'm happy you actually know who Medusa is.
I've watched Percy Jackson.
I actually am reading Percy Jackson. It's right now my Audible pick.
The movies are better.
Well, see,
I'll always say that. I don't like reading though, so I mean,
I can't read, so audiobooks are my best friend.
So Spencer, are you?
Before we go,
I know you said you weren't gonna thread at the beginning of this episode. Are you gonna thread this time or no?
No.
For those of you who don't know, real quick, before I know you were wrapping this up, but
trying to, yeah.
So.
Trying to put a bow on this.
Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk were reportedly going to fight in a cage.
We talked about that
apparently
last
that's still going on. We talked about that last episode. And now they're literally going at it, but in terms of social media platforms. Twitter sounds like it's dying now because
it's been dying. But
Mark Zuckerberg came out with a version called Thread.
Which goes under the Meta
Threads,
which is
under Meta, Instagram umbrella.
Facebook.
And it's basically Twitter 2.0, and it's picking up a lot of traction. So anyways, I've been threading more than tweeting this morning. I'm actually trying to get ahead of the curve this time because I was way behind when Twitter first came out. I only got Twitter in 2018, so actually surprised I downloaded this. But anyways, it doesn't matter. Spencer has not changed his point of view, which is...
calling you a loser is just not strong enough, Al.
Oh, geez.
Calling you a loser. I'm trying to be a trendsetter over here.
Okay.
What a mug.
What an absolute mug. All right, whatever.
What a mug.
By the way... Sign-offs are my thing.
Well, then hurry up and sign off then, you mug.
All right, so
you're talking about Thread.
Fine. This was episode number 15 of The Outrage. I'm Alain Kevion from Spencer Byers. We'll talk to you next time. Hopefully, we stay consistent. This was back-to-back-to-back weeks.
And hopefully, William Nylander gets traded to Boston. Let's hope.
No, but anyways, this was The Outrage. Talk to you soon.